All right, there will be bourbon tonight. Heather Shouse joining me, who has a much more professional podcast from what I've seen. She even has a website, which I don't have. What's the website? Shouseinthehouse.com.
Shouseinthehouse.com.
Shouseinthehouse.com. And the podcast is what?
Shouse in the House.
Oh, okay. Same thing. There you go. Shouse in the House. Yep. And then you can find her on Twitter at Shouse34. So SHOUSC 34. She's getting close to that 5K mark, so she can start getting paid for those spaces. Is that how that whole thing was working?
Well, I was not approved because my content is not appropriate. So
Liberty is not appropriate?
No, not for Twitter.
Why don't you just find the loophole and just tell them, like, look, yeah, I talk cisgender studies stuff, right?
Well, and then that's the thing. Like, I mean, people have some crazy shit that they talk about in there. Like, they talk about stuff that I don't even know that I'm comfortable with, but I try, like everybody gets to say what they got to say. I'm sorry. I mean, talk about what you're drinking. That's more.
Yeah, important. We'll get but it's funny what you were talking about. Cause I don't know what the hell he calls him. It's Pickle, whatever he calls himself. I mean, I know the dude's real name, but let's go with Pickle.
Pickle is my,
yeah, but didn't Pickle, and it was probably somebody else too. I think Pickle, but they started just a spoof of a space called Blackjack and Hookers a few weeks ago. Yes. It might have been last month. And that, God, what's that dude's name?
Steve.
No. The shooting grifter, that little kid, Daniel Hogg, showed up.
Oh yeah,
he showed up in the Blackjack and Hooker space. They're like, wait a minute, and I think they kicked him out. But I thought that's
old enough to be in here. That's right.
Yeah,
like 18
that's so random.
Plus.
Like what were you scrolling through to where you're like, oh, let me jump in that space, and he had no idea what he was getting into. But anyway, all right. So before we get into the whole conversation, so of course, as always, I am fueled by the wonderful Native American spirit. And that is native to America, because, Americans invented it. I'm not saying Native Americans. All right. So don't spare me the hate emails. I will read them. So tonight we're going to start with I haven't had this yet, little Basil Hayden toast, right? So Basil Hayden, obviously made by I don't know. I'm not a big Jim Beam fan, but it is made by Jim Beam, right? They do make a lot of good stuff. Knob Creek. I think everything that Jim Beam makes that isn't Jim Beam is really good, right? Old Granddad, Knob Creek, all those.
That I work in Louisville, Kentucky, right? So you can totally come bring your fiance. You guys can come crash and do the bourbon tour. Have you done that yet?
I've done it a few times, not with her. We went last year in December to Buffalo Trace. She got us into that because it was closed with all this COVID stuff. But yeah, no, definitely. We're taking that up. Babe, you heard that? I don't think she heard it, but yeah. So, all right, Louisville. Yeah.
Well, you'll get to see Hoppy too. He's here. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because hopefully I won't have to do it again. But when I go into Fort Knox, we always go through.
Oh God.
Louisville. Yeah. So, that's where all of my primary military crap is at. If I got to do education stuff. So yeah, the Basil Hayden toast, right? The new trend is to take a bourbon out that's finished and then refinish it, or I guess finish it a second time in a toasted barrel, which is supposed to bring all sorts of new vanillins and flavor to it, right? So that's what this is. Been sipping on it a little bit tonight. I know Curtis wanted me to mention how much I've actually had throughout the show. I don't really know how to track that, but I'm going to guess we're on like ounce 4. Okay. So that's primarily what's going to be tonight. I'm supposed to try and save some of that for the holiday next week, but I don't know. We'll see. And then this was just on the shelf. I don't know if I've drank this or not on this podcast before, but our good buddy, he brought this over a while back and I just haven't finished it yet. So it's just from the Sonoma Distilling Company, which is local to Napa area. And it's just bourbon finished with cherry wood smoke. So a little finishing thing to that. So nothing pure, just lots of gimmicks tonight on the podcast. So there you go. Are you imbibing?
Confession. So
it's late.
I do. I haven't started yet, but okay. So here's the problem. Bourbon just really fucks my stomach. Am I allowed to say fuck? Can I say that?
You can say whatever the fuck you want. All right.
Okay. Bourbon really messes my stomach up really bad. So I got as close as I could. So I got
the vanilla barrel cream. What is that about?
It is an ale that is actually cured in a bourbon barrel, a vanilla bourbon barrel.
Big fan of that.
So I figured, as long as I'm playing at least a little bit along the rules, then I could. So,
although, I mean, it sounds like you've kind of given up on bourbon, which is what quitters do.
I kind of have. I know you're gonna hate me. I did on tequila too. So Javi's
there's nothing wrong with that.
Too.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing.
Tequila is the worst thing that's ever been
created.
It's hard. It's like, I became an adult and had kids, and whiskey just really fucks me up now. So
see, I couldn't drink it before the kid. Now with the kid, no, it's fine. All right. So now we've introduced the wonderful Heather, where to follow her, where to listen to her. And if you have made it this far, you can please hit that like and subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Go and follow the whatever podcast site you like, Spotify, Apple, all of it. It's all there. If you're on Twitter, you can find me at Eric TWBB for There Will Be Bourbon. It's very creative. All right. So that's us. And again, if you are new to this, I did want to thank the young man who won the random contest that I picked. Right. So, I sent his trophy out.
It was 2000, right?
It was 2000. Yeah. Yep. So, once upon a time, because that's what's cool about this guy. So his name's Matt Summerlot. And he joined in 2009. So he's an OG guy, kind of, right? I joined originally in 2009. I nuked the first account I had a few years ago before coming back, and I had
nuked it, or it got nuked.
No, I knew. I gave it up because I was kind of over what Twitter was really fun when it first started, right? And it kind of trended into this real weird realm of toxicity, especially like I think 2017 is when I got rid of it. Back then was really bad, like because it was just post the election and everything. I'm just like, this is a waste of my time and space. And so when I brought it back, I wanted to do something different, and I've managed to successfully do that, I think, to this point. Avoid the toxicity, right? So anyway, Matt Summerlot, if you're out there, buddy, that trophy is yours and it's headed your way. And if you want to follow Matt, he doesn't seem to be very active, but he's pretty funny when you do find him. Seems like a really nice guy too. His profile says that he was sent to the office in first grade. And we talked about this in the DMs. I was sent to the office in first grade a lot. We both were paddled with those paddles that had the airflow holes in them, right? Corporal punishment. Yeah. Like fiance couldn't understand that. Like this is not something.
I got one of those in sixth grade.
Yeah. So
I got my ass beat in sixth grade.
So the fact that you got it still done in sixth grade, A, what were you doing? And B, if someone would have paddled me in sixth grade, I was probably at that age where I would have fought back, right? First grade is what we're talking about. Okay. And we used to have that little punishment, corporal punishment permission slip that we had to bring home. So I thought that was still a thing. Like, so when my daughter went to first grade, I remember, going to her teachers and being like,
telling her that her teacher,
like, what's up? Where's I don't know if you sent it home with her and she just didn't give it to me, but do you have a permission slip? And they're like, oh, Mr. Bandazeski, we don't do that anymore. I'm like, well, in that case, I'm not going to apologize for any poor behavior.
Well, I'm going to homeschool now because I want my kids' ass beat.
Yeah, exactly. Real quick, for those at home, there's Frank. He decided to show up. Oh, all right, buddy. You can have a seat. He's very, as he lays down. He's a daddy's boy. It's good. He's a good little boy. A good little ferret. Or he's not a ferret. He's a cat. I don't know what I'm talking about at this point. Anyway, all right. So there we are.
Are you sure you've only had 4 ounces?
Pretty sure it's 4 ounces. 4.5, maybe. Whatever. The cat threw me off my game. Yeah, so big fan of corporal punishment. I wish more schools would do it because I certainly experienced a lot of it. And my parents are more than willing to let somebody else other than them beat the hell out of me with a stick, essentially.
Right.
It's great. So yeah, first grade, I remember I used to get in trouble for always being done my work in class first, and I had no ability to just kind of sit there and be like, all right, I guess I would go around the class and start messing with the other kids, like, yo, why aren't you done?
Yeah.
Are you dumb?
Like helping them, like, hey, do you need help? Like, let me do your work for you so you can
I made fun of them. I was a dick. I was a bit of a dick.
Okay.
I never really offered to help, not in first grade. But yeah. All right. So kind of went over this a little bit before we started recording, but you have some stuff on the website, and it's some stuff that I know that came up in the news cycle over the past month, and you were supporting of it. And again, it's not something that I'm allowed to say, right? There's a lot of things that you can say, and then there's a lot of things that the left has decided that certain people are not allowed to participate in, despite saying discussions about these things need to be had.
Right. Yep.
feminism, right? I'm not allowed to have an opinion on that anymore at the moment, right? So, but you can because you're a female.
Yeah.
Right. By all accounts, you are a woman and you write.
My boss told me today that I'm very misogynistic for a female. So I was really, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
So your boss said, is your boss male, female?
Yes, he's a male.
Oh, okay. And he says you're misogynistic.
Yep.
And did you just look at him and be like, and?
Yeah.
Is this going to be a problem for you?
My bad.
Is this going to be a problem for you? Okay.
What else do you need me to say?
All right. So as I bring up the article that I wanted to talk about, so on your website, you wrote something called Toxic Feminism.
Oh, yes, I did.
Good one. I enjoyed it. I read that. I revisited it today while I was in the gym. All right. So this quote paragraph, modern feminism is toxic and is ruining the world. Screaming from the top of your lungs about gender wage gaps, oppression, and bringing down the patriarchy while simultaneously wondering why you're lonely and no one wants to be with you, or the guys you are with end up distancing themselves from you and eventually leaving you for, quote, no reason, means you need to find a mirror and do some self-reflection. You just described
like the shade right there.
Yeah, you described all of Twitter feminism right there in one paragraph. Why'd you write that though? So what inspired you to kind of throw that out into the world?
God, I'll be honest. So I worked on it for a long time because I was super angry about it. I've watched women move into this weird realm where they're allowed to, but no one else is. And there's a name for everyone else's behavior, but not our own. And, that hypocrisy, right? Like, okay, guess what? It's bad on both parts. It's bad on both accounts. Like nobody should be toxic to another human, period.
Right.
But the idea that you're toxic because you're a man, I'm just standing up for myself because I'm a woman. That's like, you're literally creating gender differences and lack of equality by saying that you're different and need to be treated differently.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
You're creating a form of conflict that isn't there either, I think.
Correct.
Yeah. And then, so obviously you go more into that. You define, I think, like 10 different behaviors. And so this is something I am curious about, because I think it was like the last thing you talked about was like, oh, you're toxic as a man because you're acting masculine. Like,
right.
What does that even
mean?
What does that mean?
What are you supposed to do? Act like a pussy? Like, are you supposed to act like you have a vagina? Are you supposed to be a woman? This feminization of our men in general drives me insane. Like,
it pisses me off.
Do I want you to walk around like a Neanderthal, like on your fucking knuckles and like dragging women by their hair? No. Okay. Let's be real about that. But there's nothing wrong with acting like a man. Like, that's what you are. You should be masculine. You should do masculine things. That's what men do. You guys are full of fucking testosterone, or at least you used to be.
I still am. My levels are off the chart, apparently, according to my doctor, but that's not allowed. I'm supposed to get those brought down at some point. I was told that
take some estrogen shots.
No, absolutely not. I was told I have the
drink soy milk. Is that what they say, right?
Yeah. There's a cat. They've got is calling you. Okay. Yeah, I was told my testosterone levels and my overall, I'm like a 25-year-old. Okay. So that's cool. I don't see why that's a problem.
It shouldn't be.
Right. So, all right. Where do you see, because a lot of the stuff you talk about in there is you say by design, et cetera. So this is where I think you get pushback, or would get pushback. So when you say this is what, quote, they want, or who, at the end of the day, who are we highlighting, or who would want something like that?
Who is they?
Yeah.
That's a great question, Eric, that I don't have the answer to, unfortunately. Like, a lot of the things that I ask are that question. Who the fuck is doing this? Who is running the country? Who is setting new societal norms that have never existed? Who is the person behind the curtain orchestrating all of this? you think about it, and it happens in every segment, right? So it happens in feminism, it happens in race, it happens in gun culture, it happens like there are people who are moving that dial in whatever direction they think we should be going in. And whatever creates the most division, that's where they dial it up. That's where they turn up that heat.
So, I mean, because it's not only,
they?
yeah, because, I mean, it's not only what you're describing, right? Like, because you're talking about it through the lens of, you're highlighting what you describe as toxic feminism. There's other people who always push that theory out that, there's, it's pushing us towards this globalization, whatever, the global society, all that stuff at the end of the day. Right. I don't think that's ever possible because we're just too different. The world's just full of too many different types of people and cultures still. Like there's never going to be this one homogenized thing where everyone just holds hands and gets along. No, that's just not how people are designed. We're still tribal at the very end, or at the very core of us, right? No matter what we are, we're still tribal, right? If people, and this is what I've always said, in the United States, I still think most of the problems that we try to address or say as a society we need to address, we create them. They're created, right? We are living in the easiest times of all human existence, right? And most of the problems that we have, we create out of a need for, I don't know if we need to have conflict or if we need to be divisive, or right. But if the average American who thinks this way or lives this insulated academia world in view, if they would just get on a plane, maybe go to some of these parts of the world that they think are so much better than the United States, or, are more enlightened.
Sure.
I would challenge you to spend maybe just a week behind the curtain, right? Sure. Don't get out in front of the curtain, right? Where it's like, oh, look, this is what everyone wants you to see. No. And I get it. There's some spots in America that some people would be, a little surprised to see exist. I'll be fair on that. Right. But let's stop trying to act as if every other country on this earth, is there 180 other ones not named the United States of America, have somehow got it better or are doing things right? Because that's just not factual.
It's not. I've been to 49 states and 37 countries.
Damn.
And I tell a lot of different stories about the different places that I've been, most of them about how I got in trouble and did shit that I wasn't supposed to do.
As you should.
But some of the stories that I've seen when we talk about like oppression and poverty and any of that type of stuff, many people who are talking about it and discussing it are looking at it from a lens of so much comfort on their cell phones in their heated homes with their indoor plumbing, and they have zero concept of what life really looks like outside of themselves.
Right.
And I think my railing against feminism specifically in that article, I think I had seen something that provoked it. I had seen somebody talk about toxic masculinity. I'm like, well, what does that really even mean? Right. So I just go type in Google toxic masculinity. Yeah. Those 10 things are the 10 things that come up as the definition of what that is. So I decided to then go in contrast to that and go find every single one of those examples that females have done. and so the idea that it's only men that are toxic is absolutely asinine. And I would argue now at this point that women are more toxic than men. Men just they'll just look at you like you're fucking crazy and then they'll walk away.
And I think that's what you were talking about, how you can say that, but when you kind of talked about the birth of the Karen meme, right? That's what you're describing is people who
there is a whole breed of fucking females that have come out of this entire situation that frankly just really need to disappear. Not dead, just gone.
Yeah, because that is funny. It really is funny how that the Karen thing is, everybody knows a Karen. Whether it's a meme, whether it's not, or whether it's just a story you hear.
Except for the people who are Karens. They don't know that they are one.
That is true.
They're they lack total self-awareness.
Oh, God. I'm trying to find God, there's this great story. Like, I can't remember the name. Like, what's that neighborhood app where people just kind of they discuss like
Glassdoor? No,
next
door.
Next door. So there was something like and some girl.
Is that what it is, or is that the porn site?
I think no, it
don't
could be
even know.
both. Yeah, it could be both. Next door sounds fine. Let's go with next door. But Maddie was looking on it, and I guess she follows it from one of her old neighborhoods in Napa. And there was a lady named Karen who wrote about, we need to stop referring to women who do these things as Karens because it's offensive to actual Karens. And both of us were like, does she realize that she literally is epitomizing she's doing the Karen right now by saying exactly that? Yeah. The cats have decided to have a wrestling match in front. Whatever, they're very disrespectful and rude. I'm just gonna wrestle one of them, and when they go to eat in the morning. But there was another thing you've mentioned in there that I kind of wanted to hit on before we move over to the Ann Coulter thing, right?
As your eyes get real big. Yeah.
Using power over women, weaker men, and marginalized groups, trying to appear suppressing emotions is toxically masculine, apparently. I don't know. Some of these things you do point out, because you do point out, there are some pluses and minuses to these, but the trying to appear tough thing, like that to me is what's really kind of, I don't even think there's such a thing as trying to appear tough. You either are a tough person, whether it's
either you are or you are not.
You're not, right? And it doesn't have to necessarily do with your outward appearance or how you treat other people. I think
it's mental fortitude.
Yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, like what we're talking about, I don't know if it's just something that's just rooted in our DNA to where, again, I go back to the tribal thing, and when we break it down one step further, humans are animals, right? We're just really smart.
Right.
We know how to build shit and ruin shit.
Right.
And we can make bourbon, which is amazing, right? Alchemy at its finest.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, like, you know what? If I am out and I see someone, I can identify like that's a threat, not a threat, right? Is that looking tough, or is that just something that's coded in our DNA? Because I think people who go out of their way to try to look tough, usually they're not. It's a smokescreen, right? It's a defense mechanism for something that they probably, or they're projecting something that they lack, right? You never really see, like, probably the two toughest men in my life that I know are my dad and my brother. And, my brother, of course, we're still of similar age. So no, I can't. My dad's 72. I'm still worried if I could take the dude or not. And I've got like 6 inches and 40 pounds on him. I still think he would fuck me up, right? So
can I pay when that fight happens?
But they never, like, especially my brother, like he's a trained mixed martial artist, but you would never know that if they don't go out of their way to try to act tough, or they don't try to belittle people. They don't try to bully anyone. So that's why when I read something like that, I'm like, what does that even mean? Act tough?
Right.
No, tough people don't act tough. They just are. And they don't have to go out of their way to tell them. I think people, either through getting to know them or just being around them, you kind of pick up or perceive that vibe and you can understand it. Whereas if someone, we talk about acting fake, right? Fake people. It's the same thing. If someone's there's an actual term, fake tough guy. Like there's terms for that. Now, I don't know if there's a fake toxic feminine, a fake tough guy. Oh yeah, absolutely. And at least in male circles. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, we would describe dudes that aren't fucking tough. That's a fake tough guy.
All right.
Yeah, I mean that's a real thing.
I didn't know that. I didn't know. I believe you. I fully believe you. I just didn't.
People come onto this podcast to learn things, Heather, and you are sitting in the chair.
I am prepared. I'm ready to take.
Are you? I don't see you writing this down.
Paper out.
Write this shit down. Fake tough guy is definitely a thing.
Right here.
Right. And it's definitely big in the mixed martial arts circle. Like there's a lot of people, because I think a lot of people think that just because someone is a mixed martial artist or a UFC fighter, for those who don't know what that is, they just assume like, oh, those are just guys who always go out looking for fights. No, it's an art. They are trained in an art form. Right. It doesn't mean that they want to go out and just fight everybody to show how tough they are.
Fight people all the time.
Right. Yeah. Right. They're exhibiting.
If I were to make an argument, I would think that those people are the least likely to want to go get into fights with people. Like they're the people who
most
of a defense thing.
There are some meatheads, right? There's still that guy, right? And there are some dudes who are just generally really cool and down. Most of them really are. But there are some fucking idiots.
Okay.
And I get it. Like there has to be an outlet for the idiot in society to find some way to support himself. And some of them just happen to be good at fighting. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know what that person would do 400 years ago when that wasn't an option for like, you can make a living by fighting. But I'm glad it's an option now. But yeah. So that's one of those things that I just don't get. And I think it's kind of, it ties back into the fake thing, because I think women deal with this a lot where, I think the thing that women deal with is women who go out of their way to be nice to each other when they don't really like each other, type of thing.
Right.
Does that make sense? Is that,
yeah.
That's a thing, right? That's a thing.
That is definitely a thing.
Yeah. And I don't know
you
what
have
that's
a fiance. I'm sure she's disclosed, God, I can't stand her. And then she was like nice to her. Right. Okay. Don't confirm, because then you'll get in trouble.
Yeah. I can neither confirm nor deny. But I know those women exist.
I can tell you that has for sure happened, where I've been like, hey, what's going on? And then behind closed doors, I'm like, God, I can't stand her.
No, don't get me wrong. I do that.
There's mom. That happens all the time.
You're a gymnastics mom? Oh, that's gotta be the worst. Is that worse than cheerleading, mom?
It's fucking brutal. It's so bad. It's so terrible. Yeah.
Well, I think because I mean, there's a segment of that with dudes as well when it comes to sports parents. And this is why, I mean, I grew up so I played Little League, obviously, and then baseball into whatever. It's well known at this point, but you got to start somewhere in Little League, right? And my parents were always there, but they weren't obnoxious. My dad whistled and he had this really loud, very distinguished whistle. But like there came a point, I think
he used his tongue through his teeth, like the
really he's a legit whistler. I don't know how, and he couldn't teach my brother and I how to do that. I don't know. It's one of those things, you either can do it or you can't,
Right.
But I guess probably when I got to high school was, I guess, the next group of the little leaguers, where it just kind of turned into like the dads fighting at the games type of thing. Yeah. And I don't, and that's still apparently a thing. Like these people take this shit way too serious, which I'm all for, like, hey, let's keep score. But at the end of the day, the fact that I think a lot of these parents who turned it into like shouting matches and you're screaming at the coach for not playing your son and all, it's like, I think it's a weird way of parents who never really achieved trying to live vicariously through
you're like living through your kid.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, you never made it past the freshman team in high school, huh? That sucks.
Yeah.
So I would assume that's how it is with gymnastics moms.
Yeah, I would even argue, I mean, similar to like a wrestling, or it's such an individual sport, but you're also functioning as a team when you're in competitions.
Yeah.
But when you're in, I'm not going to get into all of that. You don't want to hear about gymnastics.
Oh, I do want to hear about this. I absolutely do. I want to hear about, because this is a societal ill.
Yeah,
it really is. Whether it's gymnastics or it's dudes with Little League or the AAU circuit when it comes to basketball and baseball, like that's a fucking problem. Like these kids are growing up not really having a childhood and being thrown into this enormous pressure environment, and most of them are going to fucking fail and they have no idea. Like they have no idea you're never going to make it. Never going to make it.
Yeah. So my daughter she's 9.
Right.
She's a level 3 gymnast. Not that or care what that means, but
it sounds higher than level 2.
It is. She finished 6th in the state last year.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
And yeah, she's really good. She's incredibly talented. I'm super proud of her. And they're 9, so it's important to, let them go have fun. But at the same time, they're starting to get into those higher levels. So it's important to know, practice is where you work and competitions where you have fun. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So, there you
go. But one of the things that we really struggled with, and I'll go back 2 years ago, there was a parent who, she would take jabs at her own child towards me in an effort to tear down my daughter's success. So she would be like, yeah, my daughter's on the reject team, or, like, it was just like, she would literally degrade her own child in an effort to make me feel bad because my daughter did well.
Because your kid's actually good. Yeah.
Right. And so
that's a whole nother level
that
of mental gymnastics
the
right there.
toxicity is just like insane. Like you're sitting there and then you feel guilty for cheering your own child on, like for supporting them. Like you want to be like, yeah, okay, good job. You know, sorry. I can't really cheer for you because
that ties into something
this
else.
mom's kid sucks. Like
I know. I'm trying to find it. I don't know if it's something I saw, if it was something on Twitter, if it was something else. And I don't even know if I'm going to find it now. I probably won't. So I'll have to come back to this at some point, but it ties into we're projecting this level of unrealistic expectations onto the kids, right? The parents are doing that. It's not the kids. The kids have no concept of like, oh my God, I'm 9 years old. I need, they don't understand what any of that means unless they've learned it from you or another adult, their coach, whatever. Right.
Right.
And my big thing, man, because I've fell victim to this. I've said this shit a fucking million times. I went to college, on the baseball scholarship, and I was like, this is all I'm going. I am here. And the next step, I'm going to be a fucking major league player. Right. And then we started playing for the first time, and I realized I just ain't that fucking good. I was good enough to get here, but I didn't have a secondary plan. I didn't have a backup plan. Most, you hear these stories all the time from pro athletes or, musicians or artists. And they're like, I didn't have a backup plan. No, you probably didn't. You just had the talent to realize the primary plan. But there's a lot of people who didn't have a backup plan and didn't have that talent. And then they had to figure some shit out. Right. That's me. I had to figure some shit out. I've done okay. But a lot of people don't, because they don't understand that at the end of the day, if you keep expecting and only knowing like, just do this because this is going to happen, at some point you're going to fail. And if you don't know what that feels like and how to respond to it, you've got this weird level of expectation that you don't know how to react to. And then what do you do? And I think we're creating that a lot. I think I see this shit with sports all the time.
We're taking away the ability for children to learn coping mechanisms too. So I would argue kind of the opposite of what you're saying at this point. We need to put kids through pressure. We need to give them the ability.
Well, I'm not saying not to.
No. I know. What I'm saying is they need to learn how to fail. They need to learn how to take no. They need to learn how to not be the best or not get an award or not, because what's happening is they're going into adulthood never having reached, that person who says something like that to them. And then they get into adulthood and they're like, what do you mean I can't treat people like shit? That's how I've done it this whole time. I should be able to keep doing that. Like, what do you mean I'm not going to get my way? Fuck that. Let me throw a fit. Let me take my clothes off and stand in the street and scream bloody murder.
Well, that used to be, you used to learn that through sports. Like, that's where you used to learn that. You used to learn how to interact with other people, different cultures, different backgrounds. You used to learn what it was like to lose. No, like one of my guys in the office, his son just started playing baseball. They don't keep score. They just, it's just like, oh, what do you mean they don't just want to make sure they have a good time. No, it's not about having a good fucking, you know what? Kids aren't stupid. Like, maybe they know we're not keeping score, but at the end of the day, I still remember very, very.
They want to know who won. Like,
if the other team's doing good, like, wow, that fucker keeps circling the goddamn bases. What is that? I mean, I feel like that's a good thing, and we're not doing that. Like, I don't know when that started. Like, it had to be I don't know. I really don't know, because I grew up playing Little League in the 80s, 90s. I don't know when it started to where, like, let's give everybody the trophy. Let's stop keeping score. We'll keep score when they get to high school. Like, no, why are we doing that? I don't even know why that is a thing. I don't know who would have presented that. And then someone had the green light that, like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's not keep score in a sport, in a game.
The only thing that I can think of, and I made this observation not too long ago, you kind of touched on it briefly about like throwing kids in at a young age for stuff like this. But so Ainsley has been doing gymnastics since she was 3 years old. Mm-hmm. And the problem is, it's funny, like when we're at practice, I can watch my daughter who's only 9 and she's out there doing insane shit, like all over the place. And there are girls who are twice her age in the gym doing half of what she's capable of doing just because they started so late. It's a sport where you start at birth or you don't get in it. And I like, because of private type teams like AAU, travel ball teams for baseball, that kind of stuff. If your parents don't have the money to allow you and afford you the opportunity to do that, you're fucked when now the elementary school is starting to offer this so you can actually do it too. You're so far behind at that point that it makes it hard. So I think that's where they're like, well, we're starting to see this disparaging difference where some people can do this and can't. So we're just going to give everybody a trophy. It doesn't matter if you're any good or not.
Yeah, no, but that's the same thing. Cause, and I do, this is one of the few regrets I have with my daughter. Cause I was deployed a lot through her years where she should have been doing some of this shit. Right. And so her mom just never got her into this stuff. And, she sent me a message the other day, like, my daughter's a sophomore in high school now. And she's like, oh, do you think we should, let Jazara try out for the softball team? I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely fucking not. Like no, you know what you are as a 15-year-old in a sport? You can either play or you can't. These people that you're gonna set her up for failure because she can't play.
She'll sit the bench.
She can't play. Like, I know she can't. She barely catch the fucking ball. Bless her heart. Right. But the kids that can play have been playing fucking softball, like you just said, 5, 6 years old. That's when they started. They've been doing this shit for 10 years. I'm sorry. No coach is going to take the time to teach a 15-year-old who doesn't know how to do anything, how to do that at the expense of people who can't. Like, that's just a harsh reality of the fact, right? I get it. I'm sorry. I wish you could have traded or played the sport sooner, but you didn't. Find something else you can do because this ain't it. But that goes with what you're saying, because it's true. Like, you know what? We've created all these other layers and levels of whether it's AAU or it's this competition or it's travel, this and that, which is all created by adults. It's not like some 10-year-old formed a union and was like, this is what we demand as, the unified 10-year-olds of America.
Some fucking weird ass group of parents that started it. It's like, I want them to have more time on the field.
Yeah. Because I mean, baseball was very much, when I grew up, at least, like there was baseball season. I played baseball. And then when I wasn't playing baseball, I swam. And when we weren't swimming, we did football. Like, you had a season for everything. And now it's everything's year round.
That's not how it is anymore.
No. And you got
Ainsley's season starts. She has competition season from November through March. And then her like new team season starts in May. So she gets April off, but they're still in the gym. It is a year-round sport. Like, she doesn't stop. Yeah, and she's in the gym 9 hours a week.
So is that because there's some cumulative effect to that? I don't know. I mean, look, I see gymnasts. It's a very difficult sport, right? It
is.
It's very.
She just came off of a broken foot that I made her compete on for 3 weeks because I thought she was lying. Like, I thought she was being dramatic. So I'm like, suck it up. Just go to practice. You're going to be fine. That's just awesome. Tape it. And then I take her to the orthopedic.
Orthopedist.
Thank you. The orthopedic surgeon. And they do an x-ray. They're like, yep, her foot's broke. She's got a stress fracture. I'm like, fuck, Mom of the Year.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm here with Mom of the Year, Heather Shouse, who has no regard. Well, no, I mean, I think that's a point we all do. Like, I've had to tell my daughter at some point, like, would you're no, you're not. I was
about to say, yeah, right. You have a daughter. I'm sure you've dealt with the dramatics.
Oh,
it's not easy.
And I've probably never believed anything she said about pain, because it's just like, all right. Because I always harken back to myself, right? Okay, when I had that pain, could I do what she's doing or could I not? Right. Oh, right. You're lying. All right. So yeah. No. But no, because I mean, there's only one real outlet or one natural progression, two progressions for gymnasts. She's either going to be an Olympian or she's going to get into CrossFit. Okay. Every great female CrossFit athlete was a gymnast first. Like, it just sets them up for the success, right? Because you already got the gymnastics skills.
What's really funny is my best friend was a collegiate gymnast, and she is now like this rock star CrossFit athlete.
It's natural.
She does like Olympic lifting.
Exactly. That's all she has to learn. CrossFit is nothing more than Olympic lifting, the cardio shit with you do rowing, whatever, running, and then gymnastic skills, rings, handstand push-ups, handstand walks, all shit she's been doing since she was 3. She's gonna be fine. She just has to get strong with the weightlifting part, and then she'll be good to go. Right. It's a natural progression, right? That's just all. That's it. It's the only other option. There's no like.
Right.
There's no professional CrossFit or gymnastics team. You either make the Olympics or you don't. Or you go to college at least, right? There's big college programs.
That's what I keep telling myself. This is like a down payment on college.
Yeah, as long as you can get the college scholarship. And then if she doesn't, you could look back and be like, if we just would have saved all that money. No.
Don't talk about it. Don't even talk about it.
Yeah.
Don't speak it into the universe.
I know. No, she's going to the Olympics. She's going to be the opposite of Simone Biles. She's going to actually compete.
She got to meet Simone Biles.
Oh, yeah. I think you posted something.
Yeah, she got to go to I think it's called the tour, the gold tour or something like that. But her favorite gymnast though is Morgan Hurd. So she got to see her there and that made her really happy.
So who is Morgan Hurd? The only other one I know is
gymnast.
She's the only one I know that the only other gymnast besides Simone Biles I know goes to what's the one that does all those crazy routines at UCLA?
Oh yeah.
Well, excuse me. Need more to drink.
Osaka, is that her name?
I don't know. I just know she does cool shit. But anyway. Yeah, what does the Hurd chick do?
She competed for the Olympics. She just missed the trials. She had a really bad injury.
Broken foot that her mom made her.
Thank you, Eric.
Woo! Oh, that's very different when you go back and forth. Jeez. I don't know.
Which one do you like better?
I'm not sure I like either of them, to be honest.
Oh, that sucks.
It does. I mean, I have a giant bar back here, so it's got to go. There's real estate for it, but yeah, you can't drink everything you like, or else you'll never have it. If that makes sense. I don't think that does make sense. Whatever. It's not bad.
How many ounces do you had now?
I'm probably at like 6.5, maybe 7.
That's not
this
very
is normal. My tolerance is entirely too high, mainly because of her, because she's in the wine, and so the wine business, it's rough on average men like myself, you know.
Yeah, I am a fan of wine, so I would be friends with her.
Hey, you're more than welcome to come visit. All right.
Yeah.
Napa, come on out. Now, I don't know how we got into what we were just talking about, but it's great. I'm glad we did. But the other thing,
I do this all the time, by the way. Like I redirect conversations in 50 different directions. So
it's fine. Tonight's all about you. Whatever you want to talk about.
No, don't say that.
So there it is. So Ann Coulter, I know she's a big favorite for a lot of people, but she's been doing a lot of stuff right for a long time, whether you like her or not. So
yeah,
most people just rant and rave about things like she does and aren't successful. She actually makes money off it. So hate the game. You know what I mean? Don't hate the player.
I actually really like Ann Coulter.
I don't know where I am with her at this point in my life. Like I've been following her for like 20 years almost. I think.
Yeah. Sometimes like, she has moments where I don't like her. Like she has bad takes, but overall,
we all do, we all do at some point.
You know, do you know Brian Sharp, or Hotep Jesus is what he is on Twitter?
I know the Hotep Jesus thing. Yeah. I mean, I do follow him, but I don't interact enough to see any of his tweets ever. They never pop up.
He wrote like a pamphlet or booklet thing about, it's called How to Dominate Twitter. And Ann Coulter and sorry, I'm drinking beer, so I'm burping like 10,000 times.
Don't have that problem with bourbon, just saying.
No, but then I puke all night if I drink bourbon. So the two of them have communicated on this a lot, and they both do it really well, where you never know, depending on what the take is, like what's actually going through their head. Like they'll do things just to instigate people.
Jesse Kelly.
And do what?
That's Jesse Kelly.
Yeah. Same exact thing. Same concept. Yeah. So it's, I don't know. Like I never know like where she's really at, or if she's just trying to fuck with people. But the repeal the 19th stuff, I actually like.
Wait, no, hold on. Don't say it yet. Hold on.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
I know. So that's where you're going. Good. But before that, so on my old account, Ann Coulter used to follow me because I did a lot of political shit before, right? So she used to follow me. So she did actually retweet me once, and that was fun because I don't know if you've ever been retweeted by someone with over 1 million followers, but when you wake up the next day, there's a lot going on in that
I had a
that
tweet
mention
this weekend that ended up with 1,000 likes, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, this is
like,
that's nothing. Then yeah, that's crazy though.
but that's just like me by myself.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't like
I said something about this is why we have a death penalty, right? It was some brutal crime where some dude killed a bunch of kids or whatever, and she retweeted that. I must have it wouldn't stop for like a week. Like I couldn't get through everything. Like I was in that was the old account. That was like 3 years ago. But yeah, that was hilarious. All right. So Ann Coulter, that's what we're talking about. And she said this, and it goes all the way back to a 2007 interview that she gave with the New York Observer, where she basically said, if we took away women's right to vote, we'd never have to worry about another Democrat president. And her logic behind it is that women see the government as their husbands. And so that came back to the forefront when she was recently speaking. I want to say, where was she at? Missouri State University, conservative group, doubled down on that. And then you came out in support of it. You agree? We should repeal the 19th Amendment, which for those who don't know, those who don't realize that there's a constitution that you should learn this about, the 19th Amendment is what, Heather?
The right for women to vote.
Passed in 1919 by which party?
The Republican Party.
Exactly. Remember, Republicans hate women, but they passed that back in 1919. Amazing. All the civil rights movement actions, all of it, all passed by Republicans who hate all these people, apparently. Yeah. But anyway, all right. So yes, the 19th Amendment.
But I digress.
Republicans are evil. They really are. They hate everybody.
Horrible fucking humans.
They're absolutely evil people. No, the only thing the Republicans are guilty of is being worthless at this point. But anyway, spineless, worthless. There's only one Joe Kent. Vote Joe Kent for Congress, Washington District 3, State District 3. Anyway, all right. So the 19th Amendment, not a fan, huh?
No. Well, okay. So let's be fair. I'm super political, right? Like I have an entire fucking brand built around politics.
Yep.
But I would be willing to forego my right to vote if it meant none of those women got to vote either. Like I would, it's like throwing myself into the fire. But at the same time, like I voted for fucking Mitt Romney. I'm just
I did
as
that
bad
too
as
once.
the rest of them.
Yeah, I did that too once.
So
I did vote for Obama the first time. It was just the second time I was over it. Because I was over McCain. Right. So I wasn't going to vote for him.
No. It's just really like the garbage that we're being given to vote for is what's just despicable. But that's a conversation for another day.
I mean, it doesn't have to be another day.
We'll be here all night.
All night. Well, it's only 7 o'clock
night.
For me. It's you on the other hand.
It's true.
All right.
I won't come in till like 10 o'clock in the morning. My boss will be like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Sorry, I was drinking."
Like, look, bro, I'm a misogynist.
Right?
I'm a misogynist. I come in when I want to come in. Okay. Write that down, sir. Okay. But so when you say you would give up your right to vote so that the other ones wouldn't vote, which ones are we talking about?
Irrational ones that voted for fucking Joe Biden. Like,
I mean, there's plenty of irrational men who did the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. Facts. Realistically, I discussed this pretty extensively in my space, but I support like the original thought. I think that landowners should be the ones that are voting. Now, if you're a female and you own land, okay, go sis. Be a boss, bitch, whatever. I don't care. But I think that we've gotten into where we've given like celebrity status to politicians.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And they're not, they're servants. And when you have people like Ilhan Omar, but when you have her saying things like, she called Ted Cruz a Nazi sympathizer because he was
the First Amendment.
Correct. And so that whole exchange for me was like, this is why women should not be in politics, because we're emotional creatures. We don't respond logically to things, or not often. I mean, sometimes we do, but I think that, I don't know. I just, if women didn't have the right to vote, Joe Biden wouldn't be president right now. And that's the pure and simple fact.
Well, I also think if women didn't have the right to vote, then Trump wouldn't have been voted in either. So how do we win it? Because I feel like Hillary Clinton turned off enough women in this country to where they voted for Trump because they didn't want her representing them as the first female president, which is totally justifiable in my opinion.
So you think, hold on, I want to make sure that I understand that argument correctly. You think that if women didn't have the right to vote, all men would have voted, or more men would have voted for Hillary Clinton than they would have for Donald
no,
Trump?
that's different. I'm just saying that because women were able to vote, I think it's cemented the landslide that, you know, the Trump presidency, his election was.
Right.
I think it would have been a lot closer. Because don't get me wrong, I think there's a lot of dudes that didn't like Trump and don't. There's plenty of men that don't like Trump.
Right.
Most people at this point now don't like him.
Yeah. Okay. So can we talk about that for a second?
Sure.
Okay. So this whole, I think it was Jack Posobiec that tweeted out today where he was like,
say that? I always thought it was Posobiec. I don't know.
Oh, I could be completely fucking butchering it. I don't know.
I look at my last name and so.
But do you think he's going to run in 24?
I hope not.
Yeah, me too.
I hope not.
Like his tweet today, he was like, he is going to run and he will win or something like that.
I mean, what I've read tea leaves on is that he's going to, but he's waiting for something that he's
waiting to see what 2022 looks like before.
I think he's waiting for some very specific things from a
legal
campaign,
perspective.
From that perspective before he can come out and do it. Now, I think if he does, he's only going to hurt whoever's going to run against him. Or
we will end up with 4 years of Kamala Harris if Donald Trump runs again.
Oh God, yeah, I think you're right. But I get it. He's in way better. He's still not that far off age-wise from President Biden, but we don't need to be in the position to where our president could be in this state. Why aren't
there more Joe Kents running for president?
Well, I think Joe, that's his, let's get him into Congress first, but I think that's a very natural progression for him. But I was cool with the fact that Bill Clinton was 42 and, W was 49 or 50. Yeah, Obama was 47 or whatever. I'm cool with guys in their 40s and 50s and, women too, even though Heather doesn't want you to vote.
Oh my God. Pickle's wife got online, got on my space and ripped me a new asshole.
Oh, did
She's
she?
like, that's not what you should do.
What?
She's like, I should still be able to vote.
Oh, did you tell her she shouldn't?
No.
Did you tell her to get back in the kitchen and make Pickle a sandwich? No pickles.
I think, oh man. I want Pickle's wife to like me, not to hate me.
Oh, so you're being inauthentic.
Yes, I am. I'm being one of those bitches that's like, oh, I like you so much.
You're being fake. That's what you're being. Yep. That's what it is. No, I mean, I don't know, because I can understand where you're coming from. And I think if we took it back to the original founders, right, I don't even know if it would apply. Right, because it was landowners and because there's too many fucking people that live in fucking apartments in San Francisco and New York, right? I don't think that was a concept that we dealt with back when the Constitution.
But those people shouldn't
be
making decisions on the individuals who run the country and dictate country or even local politics, who get to dictate how much I pay in property taxes.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan. I think this is one of the biggest things. Maddie and I disagree with. I think was one of our first. I think disagreements was about the Electoral College. We've never really revisited it because I don't think she wants to. And that's fine. I respect it. But yeah, I love the Electoral College because I don't think someone like myself, granted, I don't vote in the state of California, but if I did, I don't think I should be voting and my decisions impacting actual fucking farmers in this state, right? Because I'm not a farmer.
Yep.
Right. Nor do I think, I should have any sway over what someone like Braxton in Howe, Idaho, whose entire primary source of living is, breaking horses. My vote shouldn't dictate his way of life. It shouldn't.
Sure.
Right. And I think our country's big enough to where we should focus on what actually impacts you at the local level.
I would like to see states, like more liberty-minded states, start implementing things like a version of the electoral college within their own state. Write a state law that says that each district gets the same number of votes from like an electoral college for your own state, so that what's out in rural Wisconsin gets the same as Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I would like to see something like that start to take place.
We'll see. Then you delete all gerrymandering, I think, at that point, right?
Okay.
Someone's got to do it.
All districts in all states are treated equally then at that point.
Uh-oh. I think I just broke my computer. Oh, well. Yeah, like we have these ideas and these great concepts for liberty and all, and we always hear these wonderful campaign speeches, or whoever the next up and coming whatever says stuff, people who aren't Joe Kent.
Incoming whatever.
Yeah, but they don't ever actually follow through. Like, this is my thing with the Tea Party. We go back to 2010. The legacy of the Tea Party at this point is Ted Cruz,
Marco Rubio.
Yeah, Marco Rubio, and then what's the dude? Rand Paul. Right? Rand Paul's done nothing but run poorly for president a few times, right? Marco Rubio has at least actually done some stuff in the state of Florida. I was there. I helped work with him a little bit. But he's also same thing. He got caught up in the Trump shit and tried to play his game rather than just his own. He might have actually been the nominee if it wasn't for him trying to be Trump. But still, he's relegated to just, putting out his tweets at this point. And then Ted Cruz, who's done nothing except lose as well. Right. Same thing. Try to play Trump's game rather than just be his own. Because, Ted Cruz is probably the smartest guy in the room all the time, but he likes to remind people of that, which never goes across big, not on a national scale. And unfortunately, he just looks like a guy you want to punch. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem in politics.
Zodiac killer, so
and he does look like the Zodiac killer. All right, I didn't want to say it. I'm glad you said it first. Right. So yes, he does look like the Night Stalker. Okay. Wait, no. No. Same dude, right? Wait, is the Night Stalker the Zodiac killer?
No,
they're different.
But they did find out who the Zodiac killer was.
I know, they're all from fucking, like, the first murder took a place right down the street there in Lake Berryessa. Like, man, I am in serial killer haven, and I had no idea until I moved out here.
You really are.
Golden State Killer. God, all the fucking killers from, like, if you watch Mindhunters.
Just north of you is the Green River Killer.
I am surrounded by
Ted Bundy was Oregon, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
The Pacific West, the whole Pacific Northwest is just because it's
just
so
fucked.
far away from things. Well, see, I also go back. I don't think serial killers like that, it couldn't happen today. Because there's too many phones, there's too many cameras. Yeah, there's just too many, there's too much. There's too many cameras everywhere. There's just too much. There's too much grid. You can't really be off of it.
In the cities, yeah, you're probably right. But outside of that, not. I mean, you could.
Yeah, but I mean, you still have you probably have a cell phone, or you did at some point. I mean, you probably have.
Listen,
whether you meant to or not, I watched Dexter. Okay, Dexter just got found out by his son because someone posted a picture with him in it on Instagram, and that's how I see. Whether you want to be in there or not, someone's gonna have a picture of you somewhere, and the fucking cloud's gonna recognize it. And it's gonna rain down your information somewhere. Okay, that's what the cloud does. It rains down your information.
Listen,
just telling you.
No. If I was going to be a serial killer, there would be no cell phone. I would just.
Yeah, but you would have already had one.
Get in my car, and I would take you somewhere like completely.
Your car's probably registered. Like this isn't like the 70s where you could just you could have a car. You didn't have to have a fucking title or on that shit. You could just figure out a way to steal a car. No one would know. You can't steal a car today. You can't.
People do it every day.
Yeah, and they get caught every day. Or they wreck it because they know they're going to get caught. You can't just steal a car and be like, all right, that's my car now. Can't do it.
You don't think so?
How about you try?
No, I don't do crimes.
Let's have a homework experience. So let's have a homework assignment. Operation Steal a Car.
No, steal
you
can't.
Now maybe, okay, so you're talking about if you were a serial killer in the middle of nowhere, who are you gonna kill? There's nobody else.
Me off.
If you're in the middle of nowhere, you can't.
People.
There's no one to kill. You're in the middle of nowhere. You have to go somewhere to kill them. And when you finally go to that place, someone's going to see you on a camera somewhere, or your car is going to come through a camera somewhere, an intersection, a traffic cam, a toll booth.
So you say that, but okay, are you watching the Rittenhouse trial?
I watched some of it.
Did you see Jump Kick Man? They don't even know who the fuck the dude is that smashed his face in the beginning of that altercation. He's still Jump Kick Man is what he's identified as. So I think I could be a serial killer if I needed to.
Yeah, but Jump Kick Man's not a serial killer.
No, but he wasn't identified, and there were tons of fucking cameras around that bitch.
I don't know. I watched some of the I watched some of that, this is camera 79, like how they pieced it all together.
This one,
and they've got arrows on this shit. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. How does anyone know what this is? Like, there's an arrow pointing down, and it's like this. I'm like,
oh my god, no the drone footage where it comes up. Shit doesn't make any sense. Like, I've watched it 12 times. I still never have seen Kyle.
I'm not gonna give. Yeah, I haven't either. I'm never gonna give you Jump Kick Man either, because Jump Kick Man didn't fucking kill someone.
No, he tried to though.
Yeah, but if you kill someone, that person's dead. And then there's going to be all these people attached to that person who's dead. Wants to know what happened.
Fair point.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying a murder's committed every day. I got it. Right.
But where do you live? Like, are you in a highly populated area?
Yeah.
Have you ever lived in the country?
My parents do now in Tennessee,
country,
but I haven't
like rural, like where you have like a town, like a grocery store or whatever, right?
Yeah, that's where my parents live now.
Yeah.
But there's only so many people to kill, and you can't kill them because they know you and someone knows them. So you can't kill those people.
You're a transplant. Why am I justifying killing somebody?
Because you're not good at it. You're trying to justify that you can't.
I'm horrible.
You're not going to be a serial killer.
I would never be.
I'm talking you out of becoming one. That's what I'm trying to do. You can't. No one can become a serial killer, not in America. Maybe still in some third world countries, like in South America. I'm sure there's some shit going down. But modern countries, especially in Europe and the Middle East, you can't get away with that shit. The only people that get away with anything, especially in the Middle East, are royalty. The people
who are what's getting ready to happen, don't you? I'm getting ready to do mad amounts of research, and your DMs are going to be full of nothing but serial killer shit that's going on today.
And that's fine. No, you can't. There wouldn't be. There's none. There's no serial killers right now.
We'll see.
And I don't want to hear someone who's like, oh, there's been 3 murders unsolved. That's not a serial killer. I'm talking Ted Bundy level shit where that dude killed 40 kids.
Okay.
That's never going to happen.
What I can come up with.
It's never going to happen. Not until we inhabit the moon or Mars. Can you imagine the first serial killer on Mars? It's good. There's going to be, think about that. There will be the first serial killer in space one day. It's going to happen. It may even happen in our lifetime. We're going to be 90 and I'm going to be like, yo, we got to do a podcast.
Remember when we talked about this?
Yo, they just killed 17 people on Mars. They don't know who did it. I'm telling you. But you can't do that shit right now. There couldn't. So it was the Night Stalker, right? Did you watch the Richard Ramirez shit on Netflix last year?
No.
Go back and watch that, because this is a perfect example of how the shit was framed, right? I never knew this. I knew who the Night Stalker was. I just thought he was some fucked up dude who killed women or killed a lot of people, right? There was this whole other part of him that fucking raped and killed little boys. They never put that out in the media because they didn't want to freak out parents. So the only thing they ever published or pushed out into the media was him killing these adults or because he killed a lot of older people. But there was this whole other side of him where he was a child fucking rapist and killer as well. But that was never part of the whole Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez shit.
Where's the documentary at?
It's on Netflix. Let me see what the fuck that thing's called. Let me dial up the old Netflix app, because I watch Netflix when I do cardio.
I'm taking notes.
It's about time. Jesus.
God, I know. Well, if you'd teach me something, I'd fucking take more notes.
Yeah, Night Stalker, The Hunt for a Serial Killer. I think. Yeah. 2021. Yeah, it came out Earlier this year. Yep. Watch that shit. And that's fucked up because I never knew half of the stuff that dude really did. All I knew was what was in like lore and the public space. That dude was fucked up.
Interesting. When
did he
do that stuff?
Where?
When did he do that? Like when was he?
I think it was the 80s, 70s and 80s. 80s.
But I mean, you see that. But I mean,
like fucking Feinstein, Senator Feinstein. She was the mayor of San Francisco who blew the entire fucking investigation because he took this break and went into hiding and drove up to San Francisco and killed somebody up there. And she released all this stuff into the media that no one knew at the time, which ruined the entire fucking case. It was crazy. But she was the mayor of San Francisco at the time. This is fucking nuts. You gotta watch this.
Repeal the 19th. Women should not be in political office.
Hold on. That's the other thing. So repealing the 19th, so women shouldn't be in politics either?
No,
shouldn't elect them.
No, they can be the personal assistants of the men who are in Congress.
All right. So his attacks took place between 84 and 85. All this was in it was in like a year and a half.
So it was like pre.
It's the 80s, 19 death sentences. Look at this shit. 13 counts of murder, 5 counts of attempted murder, 11 counts of sexual assault, 14 counts of burglary.
Wow.
In a year and a half. Dude. In a year and a half.
Whoa.
You couldn't do that. That's my point. There was no way someone like that could do all of that in a year and a half in 2021.
Well, let's be real, Eric. We're much more concerned with people saying bad words on the internet than we are about catching serial killers anymore.
That is true.
Too.
That is true.
So, I mean, there could be somebody out there, but they are not a priority.
It depends if they use the right pronouns.
Yes. And if the State Department has had a holiday for them yet.
And if they have their own flag flying at an embassy somewhere around the world.
Yes.
That would, because that's important.
All the embassies.
Yep. That's important. It's all about the virtue signaling. You have to let people know you support them. Otherwise, how will they ever know?
Well, only in this country. We don't virtue signal in the countries that don't actually support those types of things.
Well, we did. We hung the flag in Afghanistan.
We did not change our Twitter profiles for those countries, though. We made sure that those remained regular. We didn't do the pride.
I can't wait. I just can't, like, Heather, you give me about 6 months and then I can really unleash on certain things.
I know.
I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. No, I want so bad because I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't understand how it's gotten to this point. Or
I don't want to tread into places that you can't discuss for reasons that I understand that you cannot discuss them.
Oh man.
I have a friend who is currently working, and I have to be careful what I say too, but he's currently working on bringing in Americans and SIVs from Afghanistan now. Yeah. And every, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 weeks, I'm like, hey, you got all your people yet? So you can say all the things that you need to say. He's like, nope. Had a father that got taken away and murdered. Like I'm still trying. But we had Intersectional Awareness Week. Like,
oh God, we're so insulated to what the rest of the fucking world deals with on a daily basis. You know, we wake up, we open the internet, and we find something to be offended by. You know, we don't wake up and be like, how am I going to survive today? Like, that's not the thought. How am
I going to make the world better today?
Yeah,
we stopped
that's
asking
not the
that
thought
question
either.
Too.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Like, how am I going to make other people's days better?
Nope. I just need to fire up the internet, find something to be offended by, and start, you know, a fight with another person on the internet.
Yeah.
There's no actual, you know, I don't have to worry about how I'm going to eat today, or if I'm going to live walking down the street to fucking school or something. No, don't gotta worry about that. I just need to make sure my internet connection's on, you know, and Uber Eats delivers to the right hotel or the right, you know, apartment, which is a big problem in mine, by the way. I constantly have to walk across the street. It is so inconvenient, Heather.
Oh my God. It's so terrible.
It really is.
It's so like
bro, that's building 794. That's not where I live.
The pizza place stopped delivering to my house about 4 years ago. And it was really sad for me because it became too far away to be cost effective. So I now have to actually physically go get my pizza when I order it. And that's just tragic.
I actually want pizza right now. Can't fucking
I know. I'm like,
man.
What do I have?
That's the problem. That's my only issue with bourbon is it really, really, really makes me hungry.
Really?
Yep.
Just Delta 8.
No other alcohol makes me hungry. Like wine doesn't make me hungry. Beer doesn't make me hungry. Bourbon, I will kill a horse and eat it.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's weird.
It is weird. And it's Mondays when I do this are not good, but it's actually good right now because I don't know what I could really, I don't think there's anything in here for me too crazy that I could kill.
Well, you've got your phone right in front of you.
I know I don't want to do it. No, I got a lot of protein in the fridge. I'll just, you can't really overeat protein, right? If I just eat a bunch of cheese and meat.
I mean, if you have kidney problems, you can, but
I don't. I told you I'm as healthy as a 25-year-old.
Healthy, yeah. But wait, how old are you really? Can I ask you that question?
Yeah, 40. I'll be 41 next month.
Are you really?
Yep.
Okay, you look way younger than that. But when you were talking about how old your daughter was, I was like, holy fuck.
Oh, yeah, man. She's old as fuck too. She'll be 16 next month.
That's crazy.
16. And she's a good kid. The opposite of me when I was a 16-year-old.
I
keep waiting. I'm just like, can I get one phone call that, hey, Dad, I'm in trouble? And like nothing. You want
me to tell you like the funniest, like, hey, Dad, I'm in trouble story?
What?
So I was in college and I went to this off-campus party and I was so wasted or not so wasted. I had like a beer and a half, but for like my age, I was pretty wasted. So my tolerance wasn't very high back then.
Yeah.
So I'm standing in line with another beer, waiting to go to the bathroom, and cops walk in from like both sides of the house that I was in. I was at this like off-campus party. And when they walked in, they started like this assembly line process. So one woman was taking IDs, the next guy was giving breathalizers, and then the last guy was issuing tickets. Right?
That's not bad for government. That's pretty efficient for the government.
It's pretty good.
Done that before.
And then one cop was like watching to make sure nobody like left or did anything like that.
You don't want to do that.
So I'm sitting like Indian style on the
that's offensive.
Pool table.
You can't say that. You can hold on. Indian style?
Oh shit. Can I not say that? Can I say that?
This is 2021. You just offended the entire Native American population in the United States.
Okay, cross-legged.
Thank you.
Edited out.
Holy fuck, Heather.
God, I'm such a whore. Okay.
Do not follow Heather on Twitter at Shouse34.
Don't follow me. I'm a horrible human.
Going on for ounce number 8, Curtis, if you're made it this far and are concerned. I was going to get a beer actually, but
why don't you get a beer? Because you don't even like what you're drinking.
You're right. That's a good point. I'll just donate this to my brother when I get down there. Yeah, keep going. I'm going to walk over here to the fridge real quick.
No, you're fine.
I can hear
you. I'm sitting there and I'm panicking, freaking out. And I know that regardless of what happens in this encounter, I'd had alcohol. I was going to blow hot, right? Like whatever percentage I was drinking. And so I'm like, fuck. So I look at the cop and I'm like, so no matter what I blow, I'm going to get a ticket, right? Because I'm under 21. And he goes, yep. And I was like, fuck. And he goes, have you already given her your driver's license? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, oh, I was going to let you roll out the window with those guys. And there's guys like rolling out the window, like backwards, like they're sitting on the windowsill and they're rolling backwards. And I was like, son of a bitch. So I went through the whole process. I blew a 0.04 is what I blew.
Ooh, so you're good.
So I was not 21. So no, I was not good. So I am walking home and I call my dad and I'm like, Dad, I blew a point. And at this point, I have no fucking clue what 0.04 means. I'm like, I blew a 0.04. And he goes, oh my God, you're so drunk. Like he's joking, like making me feel fucking terrible. And I'm like,
that's hilarious.
What's gonna happen? Well, then he gave me such a fucking hard time for it. So then my best friend's dad is an attorney and he defended me in court and got it expunged and all that stuff. I know, right? So I had to go to this like deferral program for like wayward kids who are doing
waste
things
of time. My God, we
no,
are
it
not a
was
serious
great.
country.
Listen to me.
Yeah, let me guess. You got
So
drunk for real every night.
no, listen. So I couldn't make it to like the normal, like, because my class time interfered with when they had the little like session or whatever. So I had to go with like hardened fucking criminals that go in here and do this. Like, it was so like, they're like, yeah, I fucking stabbed this guy and I snorted this coke. And it's like all of these horrible fucking things. And they get to me to tell my story. And I'm like,
I had a beer and a half.
I went to an off-campus party and had a couple beers. Like, it was so fucking bad. My dad, oh God, he loved it. He thought it was the greatest thing ever that I had to go sit through these fucking meetings.
That's hilarious. So real quick. So the first time ever, there will be beer on There Will Be Bourbon, a little Amstel Light. You know the great thing about Amstel Light?
Tell me.
It's only 3.5% alcohol. So you can drink like 40 of these. It doesn't bother you. So
this
on the way to
5.5%.
Yeah, a little stronger, right? So, I mean, it's European, right? This is from Amsterdam. That beer is usually not very strong unless you get into that Belgian shit. But all these old school lagers, they're super, this is probably very close to actually original lager though, when it comes to an alcohol content. It's only 3.5%. Yeah. Like that stuff back in the day was like 2%, barely.
Weak. Yeah.
Yeah, very weak. But one of the funny things I remember, my brother got me this History of the United States DVD set years ago. And one of the funny things was like they're talking about the founders in the United States and how for the most part, they were all drunk when they did everything.
Right,
because,
yeah.
The only thing they could drink was beer. But they didn't realize that in order to make beer, they had to, pasteurize the water in order to make the beer, right? Which if they would have just stopped there, they would have had water to drink, right?
Sure,
you're welcome, United States of America, because without beer, you don't exist. Okay, so write that shit down. Write that down, Heather. I know you got notes over there.
I got it right here.
Yeah, but this one's not even that old. 1870. That's not that old. But this stuff's good. So if you're ever in San Francisco, right, and you get up, say you take the ferry in or you take one of the trains in, if you come out around the Fulton Street, Fulton Street. Yeah. And if you're on the water side, you'll come past two places. One's called the High Dive, right? And they have a little walk up window that you can just grab a beer and keep walking with. But they always have Amstel Light there for like.
So wait, you guys can walk around with beer in your hand?
It's kind of like an unwritten thing you can like in San Francisco during a game because who cares, right?
Okay.
You're walking to the game. So even along the way, as you're walking, there's random dudes just selling beers and shit anyway. I mean, San Francisco doesn't really enforce the law anymore and with a lot of stupid shit, which I'm actually kind of for. Like, who gives a fuck if I'm walking to a baseball stadium with a beer in my hand? I'm going into the stadium. I'm going to drink more, right?
Right.
It's not really enforced. It's just not really enforced. But it's a cool place, a little dive bar right on the water. It's pretty awesome. But I always get an Amstel Light there before I go. And then I usually will stop 2 more times and get a little $5 Modelo or whatever from one of the little vendors before I go into the stadium. Because once I get into the stadium, then all my beer is like $14 and up.
Right. Yeah.
It's fucking stupid.
Or
if I want a double shot of bourbon, right? Because I'll go, if I'm in the Sweet Lounge, like there's a bar that has the barrel strength bourbon, barrel strength bullet bourbon, which I really love. It's really good, but it's $32 for a double.
It's a lot of money for.
Thank you.
A shot. Yeah.
A double
shot, even a double shot.
So yeah, $16 a shot, right? So, I can get my little 24-ounce beer for 15 or a double shot for 32, whatever.
But, okay. So I guess like the economics of that, if you took 4 double shots, 2 double shots.
Wait, 4 double shots would be $128.
So it would be 2, which would be 4 shots. You'd have right. And then how much is a beer?
I think the cheapest is like 14.
Okay. So
but the beers are all like 16 ounces and up.
Oh.
So you can get like a 24-ounce or 22 ounce.
You probably get a good buzz off of the beer.
The beer's fine. Don't get me wrong. It's just there's times when I don't want to drink beer. Like
Yeah.
I've done 50 some,
Super
maybe
filling.
60 podcasts, and I've never had a beer until tonight. So that's my point. This isn't There Will Be Beer. This is There Will Be. What's that say back there?
Technically,
Right there. What's that
it's
say?
TWBB. So technically beer could
be
be
anything.
included in that.
There will be barley wine. There. Have you ever had barley wine?
I haven't.
What? That's just so good. It's really strong. It's potent, but it's very good. It's like drinking imagine like beer, but
Like
almost
a beer,
like
but a
sweet,
wine flavor.
like a sweet,
Yeah.
Sweet cereal flavory beer thingy.
I could probably get down for that.
Yeah, barley wine's pretty good. Usually, I mean, you're in Indiana. There's got to be a craft brewery around you. I'm sure they sell barley wine.
Oh, they're fucking everywhere, but I've never heard of that before.
Well, again, take notes because you're in the chair of enlightenment. I told you that.
I am. I know.
I've
got my phone right here. I've got notes pulled up.
Good. Barley wine. Write it down.
Barley wine.
Can't believe
I've learned so much on this one podcast.
I mean,
I just might shut mine down because I just don't educate people nearly as much as you do.
Yeah, I could understand that. I get that a lot. No, Braxton, he's been on a few times, but it was before he had a podcast himself. I was gonna say you might be the only person with a podcast who's ever came on.
Really?
I think.
Besides him? Yeah, that's cool.
But it was Braxton came on twice. Once he made me delete because I think he wanted to present a more wholesome image or something. I don't know. Yeah, I should ask him about that because I still have the original. I still have it. I just had to take it down.
Oh, you should give it to him for him to. Okay, so like real quick plug for Braxton from both
I
Eric and myself.
plug him every fucking episode, so it's fine.
Yeah. So anybody who's watching, like it's really important that you go
Especially
and
at this
subscribe to Braxton's Bunkhouse.
Oh yeah, the Bunkhouse. The good old Bunkhouse.
Have you subscribed yet?
Have I? I don't think I need to subscribe. I have access to him every day anyway.
Yeah, but subscribing helps the cause. Like the
First of all,
program that
Braxton hasn't subscribed to me. Not that you can subscribe to me. I think he follows me though. But no, he's got some cool ass options on there. It's just it's not in the budget right now. I mean, I will push it and pedal it all, but I can't give him $1,000 a year to hang out with him. I can go do that shit for free.
It's $10 a month is the lowest subscription.
Oh, that's the lowest. Who wants the lowest subscription? You know how subscriptions are set up. They're designed to make you go up the next level. Look, Braxton knows I love him and support him. He's not getting $1,000 of my money though. Hold on. Let's go to the Bunkhouse. Let me look this up.
Yeah, pull it up. Okay, so the website is bunkhouse.braxtonmccoy.com. For those of you that are listening.
Yep. Oh, look, got it in my saves. What's up?
Oh, looky there.
Yeah,
but you don't subscribe. Membership. I hope he watches this.
He doesn't watch this. He listens for like a minute. Yeah, look. $100, $200, $300, $500.
That's the annual. Look at the monthly.
Yeah, well, that's poor advertising on his part. Because he should make it say $8.99 a month then instead of $100 a year. Because everyone naturally sees the number, right? They see 100. Oh my God. If it says $8.99 a month, you'd be like, oh, that ain't that bad. You see $100 a year. You're like, what the fuck? $100? Fuck, man. You know how many bottles of bourbon I can get for that? Well, shit, not much these days since everything's so goddamn marked up. But no, I pimp Braxton everywhere I go. Do you know how many books I've sold for that man? You remember when you were in school?
Giving you a hard time.
You remember when you were in school and you had to go sell like candy or some shit for that's what I feel like I am for Braxton. And you know what I mean? Like I go door to door.
Girl Scout. You're a Girl Scout.
The glass factory and help support my friend Braxton McCoy at braxtonmccoy.com. That's what I feel like. Okay. That's what I feel like, So I'll bring this up in the group chat tomorrow, and hopefully Braxton will give me a thanks pard, something like that, whatever he does.
Oh man.
Yeah. But anyway, really, if you're out there, bunkhouse.com. Wait, bunkhouse.braxtonmccoy.com.
Yes.
Yeah, get out there and subscribe to that shit because Braxton does some cool shit where he's got veterans, he's got whatever it is, whatever tier you subscribe at, you get an opportunity to go up there and hang with the man and do some cool shit with them. Learn how to be a survivalist or a cowboy or something.
Yeah, like there's hunts, there's live events. Braxton used to be a comedian, so I think he's gonna bring some.
Yeah,
of
but
that.
you know the problem with the fact that he used to be a comedian, it means he's not funny.
He is funny though.
No, he's not.
He really is.
I'm just fucking with him. I know he's not. I know he's not going to hear this, but if he does, Braxton, you just, you know, the reason you were a comedian is because you're just not that funny, which is fine because you know what he'll do. He'll be like, yeah, Eric, you were a rapper and you're not anymore, and I'll be like, you're right.
You were a rapper?
This has been posted enough.
I didn't know this.
Oh yeah. Albums and everything.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, because you
we
look
were
like
way funkier. We were way funkier.
Really?
Way funkier.
Do you have like some of your old tunes?
Do you have Apple Music?
No.
Oh. Do you have Spotify?
I have Android. Is it on Spotify? Yeah.
Yeah, it should be. Go on Spotify. Let's look this up.
Oh my
Pretty
God,
sure it's on
I'm
Spotify.
so excited right now.
Oh, you shouldn't be. I mean, look, rap's dead. All right. This was before rap died. Ask app not to track. Yeah, please don't track me, app.
Eric.
How do you search? No. You have to look up Ray Ocean. Yeah, there it is. Pops right up. Ocean. Look at that. 4 monthly listeners. Someone uploaded that shit. It's from 2005, the album. There it is. There he is. Look at that guy. Yep. Yeah, we talked.
Look, everybody. Look at
him.
There
he is. There's Mr. Ray Ocean. There's my buddy Priceless. Whatever. Yeah, no, Javi and I were just talking about this on the last one. Yeah.
Really? Yeah, we did a lot. I watched your last one.
Well, you have to get to like the end. You have to get to the end. Like the last half hour.
It all. Okay, I missed it. I'm sorry. I thought I did watch the whole thing.
No, so yeah. No, we did a lot. Did a lot of stuff with the music, and we had a good 2-year window, and then we both our significant others at the time got pregnant, and we decided to be parents rather than chase a fleeting dream, which was about to pay off, but we refused a few deals because they weren't right legally.
Right.
Yeah. And then, you know, at least we were responsible adults, and we're like, we should probably be parents. And so that's what we did. But we did the album, you know, sold a couple thousand copies, you know, did some stuff with.
You guys still talk to each other?
Yeah, talk to Price all the time. Did some stuff with the MTV DJ Slick, his name was. Yeah, did a lot of local stuff.
Eric, I feel like I need to have you on my podcast so I can ask you all
I come questions. Around whenever you need me, I'll be there.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
I'm very excited because I don't want to like.
I was always into music, so I mean, I still play guitar, not as much as I want. I get into it, and then I get out of it, and I get back into it. I'm about to go get another guitar. Actually, I need to go do that this week. So I've always loved music, all types of music. I can't stand hip hop and rap anymore, though. I feel like I said it died when we got out of it. What it is today is it's unrecognizable.
It's totally different. Yeah.
No, I'm a big fan of all music from like 80s, 90s of all genres because it was the best, especially metal.
Do you listen to what's his name, Tom McDonald? Do you ever listen to some of his stuff?
No, who is that?
Really?
Todd McDonald?
Yeah, I'm afraid like if I don't want to disrespect him because he's a really nice dude, but he is a recovering addict and he does all of his stuff independent. Like he refuses to.
That guy? Is he an Australian actor?
No.
Oh, okay. Canadian Australian actor?
It's Tom MacDonald. M-A-C.
Tom. I thought you said Todd.
No, Tom.
Tom McDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. There he is. Oh, wow. That guy looks like a recovering addict. No offense, Tom. I'm just saying.
No, right. So
he's got a lot going on here.
But
he's got eyes on the back of his eyelids. Oh, wait, those are dollar signs.
His wife, Nova Rockefeller does all of his videos. Like she does all the editing and stuff. They do everything self-production. They have no label. They produce all of their albums, everything. They do it all independently.
That's cool. But see, that's another thing. Like that's something that's totally available to musicians today, right? Like I think so when Luke and I were doing our thing, like it was we were just coming into like the internet era, right? Uh-oh, my camera died. Can you hear me still?
I can hear you.
All right, let's try starting that video. Yeah. Like the internet, that's kind of how we found each other too. Like it was just from the internet at the time. but that was all really starting to come up, and like we were producing our own stuff, like with Adobe Audition and Cool Edit. Those are the programs at the time. Like, so now I think it's totally where people can legit become stars from that. Like that wasn't really possible back then. There was a few people who kind of secured some record labels or deals for themselves, but nobody became a star from the internet back then. And now, I mean, it's not even it's not even a story anymore. It's pretty very commonplace, which I think is cool because look, one of the things, it wasn't my major, but I did a lot. I was totally into music. So like I did a lot of classes on the music industry when I was in college the first time. And that's a fucking well, plus my own experience with it. Like that's a fucking shady industry, man. Like it really is. Like, you want to talk about regulating shit? How about we regulate that? Because that fucking thing is beyond corrupt. I don't even know what you would call that.
Right.
It's awful.
Well, I think one of the prime, like most recent examples is like Taylor Swift, where
and I love the Swift, and at least she's fortunate enough to still be super fucking wealthy and rich, but goddamn, how fucked up is that?
Yeah, they fucked her over on her stuff. So like I think that it's a fair point, to say you did none of the work, you had none of the effort, but you have the rights to everything that she created.
I mean, and that's just her. Like that. There's examples of that before her. Look at the fucking Beatles. Right. Like look at Jimi Hendrix. There's all this. Prince. There's tons of. It's such a weird world, man. And like I said, like if we're gonna talk about regulation of stuff, like God, regulate that fucking industry because that thing is beyond corrupt.
Right.
So that was the thing, Heather. Like this was a legit conversation. We flew to Chicago, right? Like this is when we were on the verge of signing a deal, right? It was with Sony. So fuck you, Sony. But anyway, they offered us $75,000 for 2 albums between the two of us, and they owned 100% of whatever we made.
What?
So we wouldn't make any money from sales. We wouldn't make any money from anything. It was like, hey, here's your $75,000 advance for 2 albums. This is like a jump off, like to lead you to your next deal. And both of him, Luke and I were at least, we were at least smart enough to be like,
that doesn't sound I don't know, right. Man. If you think it's worth enough to pay,
come on. Yeah. So, that was what we walked away from that. And then that's like that was kind of the end of it at the time. Cause
I mean, you got to think in that scenario, they believe that they're going to at least make 75 grand off of you so that they make their money back. So
yeah, but what's $75,000 to a fucking company like Sony Music?
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Sony's into so many, they got their hands in so many things and they're all multi fucking, if not $1 billion, they're close.
Billionaires. Yeah.
So yeah, no, but that's a perfect example. Like, yeah, whatever we come up with artistically, you don't get to own it. It's not yours.
Right.
It's not really yours. That's not your intellectual property. Like that's the funniest word to me is intellectual property. It's like, yeah, but it's not yours.
It's crazy.
Can you imagine if like record labels or talent agencies and shit existed like this back like in, the Renaissance when people were actual artists, like when there was like legit art still out there.
Fucking going up to Da Vinci and being like, I see this Mona Lisa. Let me just go ahead and take this off your hands.
Yeah.
Anything you create from this point moving forward belongs to us.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like a good deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Legit. Okay.
You're still a starving artist.
I'm going to create this fucking helicopter thing. You can have that.
Fucking Leonardo da Vinci. Like, yeah. Seems like good. Okay. Actually, I don't think he'd fall for it. He was too smart.
Think about like Ben Franklin. Think about all of the inventions that he had, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just take them all, which they ended up doing anyway. But
yeah. But that was another story for another time. You know, Ben, he was definitely hammered back in the day.
Yeah.
That would have been a fun. Well, see, I always talk about like, yeah, those things would be fun times. And then Maddie, the pragmatist is always like, yeah, because you're a guy. And I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right.
Why?
Well, I mean, women didn't have a lot of rights back then, Heather, right? So
right. Well,
yeah, life would have been great.
Make food. We're supposed to make sandwiches.
When did the sandwich become like standard? Like who came up with the sandwich?
I don't know.
You know what? I mean, I know we've done like almost 2 hours of stuff we talked about, but when I post this tomorrow in the morning, it'll be like Listen to us discuss the origin of the sandwich. That's it. Never mind the other 2 hours of shit. It's just going to be the origin of the sandwich. Because I don't know. That's a legit question. I don't know. Who was the first sandwich chain? How about that?
I bet it was like first sandwich chain. Subway, maybe?
I hope not, because they fucking suck.
They do suck.
Who's your favorite
Let's
Subway?
see.
Who's your favorite sandwich chain?
Penn Station.
I've only seen that once, and I think I saw it in Kentucky, actually.
Oh my God, it's so good.
I've never been. I've seen it, but I've never been.
Hold on. I
think my favorite is
Penn Station.
So honestly, I discovered it out here. It's a Bay Area thing, but it's called Ike's.
Okay.
Ike's Sandwich Shop, I think it's called. It's really good. Beach Hut Deli is another one that's out here. It's amazing. They're the ones I said I posted a while back, but they put cream cheese logs on every one of their sandwiches. It's fucking incredible. Have you ever had that?
So good. No.
Yes. They put these little cream cheese logs on your sandwiches. I'd never seen that before. So I came out here and it's delicious. It's so good. And then also, I mean, this is one's pretty much everywhere, but Jersey Mike's is pretty fucking good.
No, we have a Jersey Mike's. Okay. I don't love it that much. Like, I like Penn Station because it's warm and it's like those perfect like French baguettes. Oh my God, it's so good. And then they use like provolone cheese. It's just, God, it's so great.
My only problem with warm bread is it tears your mouth up.
Hold on. So the earliest recognizable form of a sandwich that is eaten during Jewish Passover. Hillel the Elder, a Jewish leader and rabbi who lived in Jerusalem. So a long ass fucking time ago is the first sandwich.
So yeah, it was probably a fucking gyro, right? Where they shave the fucking meat, and it's probably one of those.
Okay. So I don't like gyros.
What?
They freak me the fuck out. No,
How?
like you have fucking lamb rotating around in this room
meat.
Full of like flies and shit, and you're shaving it off.
Oh, that's fine. Flies are fine.
Weird.
That's good for you. No, it's called. That's how you build your immunity up. See, this is why we have a fucking shutdown, because people like you won't eat your meat with flies on it. I'm just saying. We'd have less pandemic shutdowns if there was people eating meat with fucking flies on it. I'm just saying, your gut builds up tolerance and strength.
Wait, hold on. So I just typed in Google first sandwich chain.
Yep.
And it says Subway.
Oh God.
Place founded Bridgeport, Connecticut.
What year?
Hold on.
I need to.
Oh wait, hold on.
This. That can't be. That cannot be.
Oh no! It's wrong. So it says, what is the oldest sub shop? And it says, as America's oldest submarine sandwich chain, Blimpie has
Blimpie. That's right. I think I did read that somewhere once upon a time. Blimpie kind of is, I don't know. I think they just need some modernization, because I've been to some Blimpies and I'm just like, nothing special. But it might have been special 50 years ago when they started it, but it's just not now.
That's our results.
So the first submarine sandwich was served in New London, Connecticut in 1926. Okay. It's a very regional thing too, because like you go to the Midwest, like, do they call them, because like they're hoagies from where we're from in New Jersey.
Oh yeah, there's subs here.
Yeah. And then in like Ohio and all, they're called like grinders. Right. And then, so I don't know what the fuck they're called in Indiana where you live.
I just said subs. They're called subs. Whatever.
So I'm looking at all these like.
Why you gotta hate on Indiana so much?
I'm not. They make really good bourbon actually at MGP. I wish they would just make their own instead of sourcing it to everybody. Are you familiar with MGP? Midwest Grain.
No, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Midwest Grain Producers. They're the largest distillery in America, and they don't make anything of their own. They mass produce bourbon and they sell it to other people who pick and choose barrels, ages, whatever, and slap a label on it and call it their own. But MGP is the source of all of it. They source most of your craft distilleries in America. They source, but there's a reason for it, right? So if you and I, Heather, were like, you know what, we're going to start a fucking distillery. Well, bourbon by law has to be a certain amount of years old, right? So we can't just start something tomorrow. But if we want to sell something tomorrow, we got to buy some stock. Well, guess who has it? MGP. Gotcha. So for however many years we decide to make our own, while it's aging, we still have to sell something to pay the bills, right?
Right.
So we sell some MGP because this barrel tastes like how we want our stuff to taste. And then we finally get to that magic point where it's like we're able to sell our own shit. Well, now we got to match the flavor profile of what we've been selling, right? And that's where the art comes in, and that's where it gets fucking hard. And you know who's ran into that fucking problem?
I would say probably you.
No, not me. I don't make my own shit yet. No. Widow Jane from New York, right? They've sourced from MGP. They started having their own stuff. Not good. Will It, right? Will It made some really good stuff, and then they ran out of their supply and they started sourcing from MGP while their new stuff was aging. Fuck that up. Who's another one? Bullet sourced from MGP for a while. Now they lease a recipe from Four Roses, which is really weird, but their stuff's really good now. But yeah, so like any of these craft distillers who are new, if they want to come to market with something immediately, you can't, because like I said, you have to age it for so many years for it to become at least a minimum of 2 years to call it a bourbon, right? That's a straight bourbon, right? So yeah, for 2 years, you got to do something to sell something. So you source it from these massive producers like MGP. And there you go. And that's where it gets into the tricky, because you can buy, like you and I, if we really wanted to, we could go to MGP and be like, we want a 15-year-old bourbon. And they're like, all right, you sure you want to do that? Because 15 years is a long time, right? There's a lot of character and flavor development and profile in that. So we do it. And then after 2 years, we're like, all right, we're going to sell shouseinthehouse.com bourbon. And you've been pushing this 15-year-old product, and now all of a sudden you bring this 2-year-old product to market, and you're like,
this is gross. Like, I'm never buying this again.
This is awful, right? Yeah, because you've just screwed yourself because my camera went out again because whatever. So yeah, that's kind of the art of the whole bourbon thing.
Do you want to keep talking, or do you want to end it? Because I need to pee really bad. I've had 4 beers now.
Yeah, that's fine. You know what? Because it's we're right around the 2-hour mark. Let's go ahead and end it. I know you got to pee. That's fine. All right. This is Heather Shouse. You can find her on Twitter at Shouse34. You can go to her website and read her articles about toxic feminism, which is a thing. At shouseinthehouse.com. You can check out her podcast, which she may or may have not informally invited me on.
I did formally invite you. You will totally
I've been formally invited. So that'll be my first official podcast. I did do something with Braxton when he was like trying out his new thing, but I didn't make the cut. Apparently. I think it was just like giving him practice. Like, yeah, my producers really loved you, man. I'm like, oh, cool. And I've never seen it show up. Well, whatever. Love you, Braxton, but just saying, where's it at? So anyway, you can find that. She's going to go to the bathroom. We're going to sign off. Remember, the stuff I had tonight that fueled this discussion was not very good. But it was Basil Hayden's Toast. It was the Sonoma Distilling Company Cherry Wood Smoked Bourbon Whiskey. And we did end up finishing the night off with a little Amstel Light. You can never go bad with this. All right. And if you are in San Francisco and you're on your way to the Giants game, please stop by the High Dive. Stop in. Please don't tell them I sent you because they have no idea who the fuck I am. All right. Anyway, this is There Will Be Bourbon. We'll see you on Twitter. You can find me there at Eric TWBB. Heather, thanks for showing up. Enjoy the bathroom.
Thank you, Eric. Have a good night.